We have a physiotherapist on the show today. He is also the founder of Boogie Company.
Boogie Balance Company.
Boogie Balance Company.
That's okay.
See, I should have taken notes.
That's okay, yes.
The Boogie Balance Company, where they do basically dancing for the elderly. And he also, with his brother, has a not-for-profit organization called the Groove and Wellness Society. And it's targeted towards the younger male population between 16 and 30. And it's also dance-related. You can find the Groove and Wellness Society on Instagram under the GAWS, the GAWS. Is that how I say it?
Really
GAWS?
good.
Thank you.
It's really good intro.
Try to cover most of the bases.
The gauze, yeah.
The GAWS.
Yeah.
Adrian Theseira, welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you reaching out to me.
We were meant to have your brother on as well, which we'll probably have to do at some point, but he's a little bit under the weather right now.
Yes, unfortunately, he's got a social responsibility to stay at home.
Yes, but I feel like we should mention him straight off the bat.
Thank you for not being here, Alvin.
We'll get you next time, Alvin. Now, Adrian, my first question is, what came first for you with either the interest in physiotherapy or physical treatment or dancing? What came first?
By far, dancing. Dancing is a love that grew unexpectedly through high school, actually. There was one lunchtime at the end of year 11, I remember this day very clearly. There was a group called Justice Crew. A lot of people might know that crew, notoriously known through one of the Australians Got Talent TV shows, one of those ones.
Yeah.
And so basically they had a performance before they were famous, obviously, at our school, and they were recruiting basically people that, wanted to have or explore dance as an option for them as a sport. That's a Narrabeen Sports High for anyone that didn't know. And so basically they did a performance, and then they mentioned, it blew my mind, like the stuff that they were doing then. And because being such a novice to anything, I didn't know what was going on. And they're doing flips and they're, popping. And I was like, man, that looks cool.
That sparked the fire straight away?
It sparked the interest for sure. And so what happened is they did classes on a Friday night. My brother...
The Justice Crew did classes for you guys? Yeah. At the school?
Not at the school. So it was at DY.
Okay, yeah.
So it was something called Mad Moves at the time. I'm not sure if Mad Moves is still running anymore. And so Mad Moves would facilitate these classes. And so these classes were free to anyone, and they would teach you pretty much breakdancing. And so we got into breakdancing heavily in 2009 onwards to about 2018. We were stuck in our heads. It was just breakdancing, which
that was like the number one.
Yeah, it led us to so many. Yeah, it led us to meeting so many new people, to physically, being a little bit stronger and more disciplined in ourselves, and it just led to a lot of fun. Like I couldn't imagine what we would have done if we hadn't gone to breakdancing.
So take me back to the beginning a little bit. Did you feel like you had any rhythm in you and stuff before you started dancing? Because I think that's a big challenge for people that don't dance, right? Unless they are, 5 tequila shots deep. They don't feel like they have a lot of rhythm.
Yeah.
You watch African Americans or something, or hip hoppers, and they've just got mad moves, and you're like, they've just got that in their genetics. But that's not necessarily true, right?
No. So if you saw me as a 16-year-old boy at high school and watch me dance, you wouldn't think, there's limbs going everywhere. There's no musical on beat.
No rhythm?
No rhythm. Yeah, that's what you call it. So absolutely no rhythm. There are some people that naturally get it though. I know
some people do.
Some people, some people I look at and they have no perhaps prior experience to dancing, but they can move or groove, or they've got the basics down for sure, and they would excel.
But I think that's the same with every activity. Because what I'm trying to say is, there's definitely people that are talented at, whatever. Some people are talented at surfing. Some people are talented at, training, like sports, whatever, you know, rugby or football, anything like that. And some people are probably talented at dancing as well. But that doesn't mean if you don't have that talent, if you don't have that first, you know, initial, you know, kind of gene, I guess, with rhythm, it doesn't mean you can't learn how to do it, right?
Yeah. So for sure, you're not at an advantage or disadvantage, I guess. It's just you have to try harder. I guess the people that are good at it will naturally gravitate to it.
Yeah.
And they might be really good at it. They might stick it. I think the challenge of starting at, you know, such a low level anyways, to get to a decent coordination and skill in terms of dancing is quite challenging and takes a lot of practice. And
so what was that like for you? So because you said you didn't have that much rhythm in the beginning.
Yes.
So
So breakdancing, there's a couple of different ways you can pursue that style. So basically there's something called top rocks, which is like you dancing in a, upright standing position, and you're like kicking your legs out essentially and grooving. But I'm butchering it because it's probably much more romantic than I actually am describing. But so you have your different levels. So up tall standing, you've got like your in between or transition. You've got like your footwork. Then you have your power moves, which are like the circular motion movements.
Spinning.
Yes, so you're like spinning on your back, spinning on your head, doing flares, windmill air flares, those kind of things.
Yeah, so you mean like standing moves and then on the ground moves type of
thing. So there's different levels, and then on your back, obviously, and then air moves. So there's kind of, so like tricks and all kinds of things. You're upside down doing hand hops. Like,
and do you mean you go through that in a progression? So you start.
So it's not unfortunately with dancing, it's not a linear progression. We started probably as any kid would want to with, I'm going to learn that move. And then, you know what I did?
Start with the flip?
Yeah, I started with windmills, and I probably at the start gave myself a disadvantage because I injured my wrist quick smart, because there's a lot of hyperextension. You got to push your fingers back towards your forearm, and a lot of heavy loading. And for anyone that does any sport, they would know, you know, if you go into anything too quickly, you're at a higher risk of injury.
Yeah.
And not from just a physiotherapy standpoint, but from any standpoint.
Yeah.
If you go through anything, you know, too quickly, there's a high chance of injury. So anywho, I stuffed up my wrist a little bit. So windmills are the moves how you start, essentially you're rolling on to your back, and then you go into your front chest area, but your legs are always in the air.
Yeah.
So it's it's hard to do, but I learned one rotation in about 2 months. I reckon I got, you know, in 6 months I was continuously doing it. However, that's not dancing holistically, because that's
that's just one move.
That's just one move. So I drilled that, and then I met further people in the community that were in, you know, the local Northern Beaches breakdancing scene. One of the guys that really took us under his wing was Ollie. And Ollie, he lives in Brazil at the moment because he's followed his dance passion all the way to South America, and he fell in love with the culture there. However, before he fell in love with South America, he was teaching in Australia, particularly in the Northern Beaches. And he was the forefather, really, of a lot of the breakdancing that happened. And not even breakdancing, but just like the whole hip-hop scene in Australia, which is amazing. This guy is responsible for basically upbringing a whole generation of breakdancers and poppers and lockers. And so he's notoriously one of the better dancers in Australia. But yeah, he took us under his wing. He trained us.
So what did he do for you guys? Like, what did he teach you?
I think the biggest thing he taught us, because there's so many different elements. So, you know, you speak about rhythm, like he just, this is how the beat is. You'd want to dance to this way at this part of the beat. And it's not like there's no recipe for dancing, because it's an art.
Yeah.
You essentially do whatever you want. However, there's right and wrong ways per se.
Yeah.
But again, no one can argue that's right or wrong.
But yeah, I guess you can kind of tell when you watch someone dance, like, oh yeah, he's killing it. He's like moving with the rhythm or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can probably tell when someone like me dances, it's like, whoa, he's way off.
That's all right. I mean, You can argue that you're on.
It's more of a freestyle jazz type of thing, maybe.
Exactly.
But what I wanted to ask is now kids, they're all on TikTok and they all learn kind of how to dance through TikTok.
Yeah.
That's the sense I get. I'm not on it, so I don't know.
I'm not
exactly.
on it.
But have you seen? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the TikTok recording and then
you follow the dance.
Yeah.
And kids are kind of getting good moves. Like
I
it
know.
looks sick.
The Groove and Wellness Society needs to do something with TikTok. We've mentioned it. We have mentioned
100%.
it. We have mentioned it.
So we have at the gym, we have a kids crèche. And so when the parents come in and train, they drop the kids off at the crèche, right? And the crèche is designed so there's big glass windows and we can see the kids at all time. And a bunch of them just put their phone up in the windowsill and then they take 3 steps back and then they just do all these dance moves from TikTok.
Yes, of course.
And then they record it and then put it on there.
That's not too dissimilar to people that train dancing like popping.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. You got to explain one expression for me because I don't really know this word.
Okay,
popping. What does that mean?
So popping is, from a scientific background, it's like the isometric hit. So the beat would be like, and with the snare hit, you go, so and then so that's...
So at the snare hit, your body is popping.
That's exactly the term, popping.
Yeah. If you're just listening to this and not watching the YouTube version, it's probably a bit difficult to...
Yeah, so it's like you're tensing your whole body essentially, but for a very split second.
That was very subtle what you did there.
Yeah, no problems. Anyways, so popping is that, but mixed in with waving. So waving of the arm, like so.
A more fluid movement.
Yeah, more fluid movement. And then you have like tutting, which is like right angles, making shapes with your body.
What's that word?
Tutting.
Tutting.
Yeah, I think it got derived from King Tut. I actually don't know that.
I was like, well, that makes sense. It's got like a Egyptian type of dance.
Yeah. I'm assuming, like, I didn't look at the history books, but...
Oh, man. Okay, so you mixed those elements into dancing, right?
Roboting, you got body waves, you have animation, which is like... or dime stops, which is like, you would... so with the beat, you would go to one position and then transfer to another, and then you... So it's similar to roboting, but slightly different.
Yeah.
And essentially popping is a blend of all these beautiful things and then some people specialize in one thing.
Okay.
Or another thing.
So you use the word popping for like the mix of all of it, not just that one kind of popping move that you talked about.
Yeah, popping's the umbrella that everything comes under.
Yeah.
So it's not per se like just a specific, like the pop of the beat is, if you see someone do that, you know he's popping.
Okay.
It's very convoluted because then you can go into hip hop, which is totally different, but almost in the same umbrella. Popping comes under hip hop, but hip hop doesn't come under popping.
Okay, this is pretty confusing.
Yeah, so
This is probably next level. We might keep it a little bit more basic here.
So
with let's go into this first. With the Groove and Wellness Society.
Yep.
Explain what you guys do and how people can get involved there.
So the Groove and Wellness Society is a dance program that's targeted towards 16 and 30-year-olds in the Northern Beaches. It's the target or the aim of the program is to aid in the management and prevention of physical and mental health conditions. So it was started by myself and my brother Alvin at the start of 2019. The inception was at Warriewood Headland, as many things happened there. And we were just having a conversation, like clinically as a physio, I would speak to a lot of different parents and they, after 20 minutes of being in a room with anyone, you're going to open up regardless of the situation. I'd say 95% of people open up to me about their personal issues or dealings.
While you're treating them.
While I'm treating them, yeah. You want that as a physio. You want to be able to speak to your physio. And so, unfortunately, a lot of them, like the majority of people I was treating were like mums. Well, it's not unfortunate, but
I know what you say. Yeah, that
it's
came up.
unfortunate that they were in the clinic and I was the physician. No, no.
I think we know what you mean.
Okay.
What you're trying to say.
And so a lot of the talkings were that they had, you know, the children in that age bracket and they were going through issues and they wish they could go outside and join a social group and at the same time there was a lot of unfortunate suicides in the Northern Beaches. And so I was like, Alvin, because this has been brewing on our mind for a while. So I actually tried to start one in 2017 as an experiment, but I didn't know how to do it. So I did it and then I marketed it to just my friends, but none of my friends were in that age group. So it didn't work. And I was just like, you know, trying to do something nice for the community, but no one's reaching out. But this approach is much better. And so basically from Alvin's experience as well, because he's a school teacher, he's experiencing a lot through personal issues with kids at school, whether that be, you know, directly the kids at school or if it gets, you know, echoed down the hallways from other teachers telling him. So he's always exposed to this stuff. And it was pretty much unanimous when we came to the idea and said, we need to do something, because if it's not us, then who else is going to do, like, we know no other dance oriented people basically in the Northern Beaches that might want to do it. So we thought, you know, dancing gives us so much joy in our lives, and it has for 10 years plus. Why not share it with other people? And so that's the concept. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
And so essentially the hard work got down. You know, we had to apply to become a charity. And before you do that, you needed to get some other licensing. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but
there's some paperwork to get
incorporated association. That's what it's called. So yeah, we had to do all these steps. There's a lot of admin work. We had to apply for grants through the council and obviously network with other people, make the website. Alvin did all of that pretty much.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I can't take any credit.
Well done, Alvin.
Alvin's the genius behind that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just facilitate dance classes at the moment, it's 5 p.m. at PCYC in DY. And everyone's welcome. It's a free class. And you know, if you don't want to dance, you don't have to. But basically, it's for everyone, for the community to socially engage, to get some kind of connectedness in the Northern Beaches, which is partially, I would say, a bit segregated at the moment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So run me by this then. Let's say I'm a male in that age bracket.
You can be female as well.
Oh, okay. So it's open for females.
It's
as well.
open
Sorry.
for females. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just call it out.
Well, let's say I fit that description
Yep.
within there. But I think most people would be very nervous about going to a class or a session and they think, oh, shit, I'm going to dance and there's other people there.
Yeah.
How would you explain that to someone who's like, you know, they're curious about it.
They're curious.
But they're very nervous about going into a group setting and I have to dance.
Yeah. So we specifically made the classes very easy and with a lot of breaks. So that gives us the best chance for social engagement. And I think that's more the bigger part here, is that we need to be able to interact with these individuals to create the connectedness, because dancing is obviously a non-verbal modality of communicating. So we kind of need to combine the two together. So we need the non-verbal with the verbal. And so it's marketed as very easy. It's a big, realistically a beginner's class. So there's no, I can understand the apprehension that someone would think, oh, you're trying something new. And all these people are going to be there. And it's really...
It can be daunting for people.
It can be. So yeah, what we do is we have an instructor at the front or a facilitator at the front, and then someone's walking. So there's two of us in the class, essentially. Yeah. We have food out. We've got basically seating areas for people that perhaps don't want to partake.
Yeah.
And
so you don't have to dance. I
so
think
you
that's
don't
kind of
a
good
don't,
thing, right?
Yeah, you don't have to dance. However, if you want to dance, we've got a session. And so we have the facilitator at the front doing some basic fundamental movements, and then one person rotating through the class and seeing perhaps if someone needs help or if if they've got questions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
how many people in the class roughly, or in a session?
Roughly, it's very small at the moment due to all the happenings.
Yeah.
We've actually had to close. Anywhere between 5 and 10 is good.
Okay. So it's not that many.
It's not
people,
a massive.
really.
No, and we're trying to cap it at 20.
Yeah.
Because it gets out of control.
Yeah.
If you've had 20 people in one room and you're trying to teach them how to dance.
Yeah. And what level are the people dancing? Are they pretty...
normally beginners. Yeah, normally beginners that are curious about...
entry level is pretty easy, right?
Oh, entry level. Mate. You can you can hurdle over that like no tomorrow. Yeah. So, yeah, the entry level... There's just so much you can learn as well. It's so... Yeah. The learnings, the happenings, the achievement that you can, get to is just...
I mean, I'm not a dancer, but it must be an amazing freedom, right? To be able to do some moves and dance to music. That sounds super fun, right?
Yeah, it's one of the funnest things.
Yeah. Have you seen any, is there anyone, you don't necessarily have to mention names, but have you seen some cool transformations in your classes with people coming in being, quite nervous about doing 4 steps of dancing at all and then like kind of letting loose a little bit?
It's early days because we only really started at the start of this year. However, we have had some cases just in our social setting. And so basically we had a class called Street Work, and it was a youth off the street class. I used to teach that as one of my side hobbies. And that was predominantly a breakdancing and a popping class. And so we had some people follow through from that class, which started around 2012 when I took over to 2016. And they kind of just trotted on and entered our friendship circle. So, once upon a time they were nervous and not, wanting or very apprehensive to dance to freely dancing by themselves. I think the biggest success story, not a success story, but like transformation was myself.
Yeah.
I was once upon a time very nervous, introverted dude that, I would always kind of keep to myself. But through that transformation, through dance, it was incredible.
Yeah.
I've just met so many people, had so many different experiences, went overseas for it. I think the level of uncomfortableness in dancing is what will make you humble.
That's a good point, because I guess when you are nervous about it and you dance in front of people in the beginning, that must be like you feel very uncomfortable. But after a while...
Don't say uncomfortable anymore, because people are not going to want to go to the classes.
But you got to get over that hurdle though, right?
It's massive.
And must be such a freeing feeling or sensation to be like, well, I don't really, I'm not that nervous about it anymore.
Yeah. For myself, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
There are stages where you get a bit nervous if someone really good goes before you and you're like, oh no, I really have to step up my game here.
Oh man.
But some of the most beautiful moments that in my life in particular, I'm not sure if anyone else can relate other than dancers or artists in this realm, is going out on a Saturday night. Not even, you don't have to be out at any bar or anything, but just a place that has music and exchanging dance rounds with some of your best friends, and some of the things that happen, you can't comprehend and explain to anyone, but I don't know, it's the closest thing to like pure happiness that I've experienced in any kind of art form. Like it's very...
Even better than surfing, Adrian?
Ooh, depends how big the barrel was and how long it was.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love surfing as well. Very different.
So different, Yeah.
It's very different. Like the expression, the communication level is so different to...
Both beautiful things, right?
Oh, surfing's so good though.
Yeah.
Surfing's so good.
What's your favorite song to dance to?
My favorite song?
If something like, is there a song that comes on and you're like, all right, I have to hit it here?
Notoriously, there's a couple of B.I.G. songs that you couldn't say no to. A couple of Snoop Dogg songs that you couldn't say no to either. I'm not going to say it. But yeah, any beat that's similar to boom,
Yeah.
that kind of beat, you pretty much have me.
That's sick.
So yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's very hard not to say.
So is it that type of music that you guys play at the
Very
River
similar.
Wellness Society?
Obviously the PG versions of everything to keep.
Oh yeah, that's a thing as well, right?
Yeah, it's 16.
Because 16, yeah.
They're barely over MA stuff, you know.
Yeah, wow. Are you not allowed to play? I don't know how
Swear words. At
PCYC
yeah.
lady, they
Yeah,
try and-
we just tried to keep it PG, regardless, just because you don't want to, you don't want swearing, perhaps in the middle of the program, and that's interrupting the dance. So, if we keep it PG, all good.
Do you have a favorite group or a favorite dancers that you watch? Because YouTube and Instagram and like TikTok is full of like dancing. It works so well on all these platforms, right?
Yeah.
Are there someone that you follow? And
we really need to get on top of this TikTok stuff, huh?
Talented.
Yeah, I know.
And on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
There's so much cool dancing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heaps of tutorials and
yeah. Are you on it?
I watch a bit of it, yeah. Well, I'm preparing to film, I'm doing research to film you guys.
Okay.
Gotta see the good angles. And
fantastic.
yeah. Actually, one thing I haven't worked out yet is how all these dance videos on YouTube get to play the music.
Oh, yes. The copyright.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The TikTok stuff? Or
well, I mean, more on YouTube. I don't know how it works on TikTok, but that's actually my biggest concern when we're going to film some dancing stuff. Because let's say we put a Notorious B.I.G. song on and you guys are dancing to it.
Yeah.
I think if we put that on YouTube, it'll be taken down.
I think it gets taken down pretty quick, smart.
Yeah.
But what we'll do is I'll beatbox. Alvin knows how to.
Oh yeah, got to record some
Alvin's a music producer, so we've got a beat maker. So
we already have another
avenue.
another avenue.
Yeah. That's where we go straight after.
Create copyright
infringement
music. No. Create dance music
as a platform
without any copyright infringements on it.
I mean, we should.
We're on something here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's discuss this after the
show. I lost track now. Okay, so do you follow any dancers or are there any you want to get inspired by?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest... So what's happened in the past couple of years, we got to 2018 and we stopped breakdancing because for me, it got a little bit boring, unfortunately.
Breakdancing did
because we were just doing the same old repetition. I don't know, the creative spark wasn't there. However, with popping, that's kind of where we transitioned. So 2018, roughly, we were always popping, but not as much as breakdancing. So the priority shifted in terms of popping was on top and breakdancing we hardly do anymore, unfortunately. But popping, there's a couple of really good poppers in Australia. Our teacher, his name is Popping Jack. He's one of the best in Australia.
Is Popping Jack his Instagram handle?
I believe so.
Okay, we'll work that out. And
Popping,
put it on screen.
I believe so. But Popping Jack is in the industry for almost 20 years, I would say. So he does a style called Boogaloo, which is primarily body like rolls, so rolling from side to side or up and down, whatever. And that's where the crew Electric Boogaloos are from. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They're from New York City, I believe. I'll probably get butchered for this as well. Fact checking. No. Yeah, I think they're from New York.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they're based in Newtown and religiously we would go to their classes every Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Newtown. We would go to their classes and train. And he also has another dance class in Brookvale. And we would train there as well on Friday nights at 5:30, 6 o'clock. We'd train there on a Friday night. That's why you don't see me at No Gi. Pacheco, yes.
Which location in Brookvale?
I think it's called Brookvale Dance Studios.
Oh, okay, so there's a location for
it. Yes. So these guys have been not terrorizing, but, on top of I'd say the popping scene within Australia. They're internationally renowned. So his brother Keanu is also a madman in the popping scene. He's going to international dance battles and killing it. And then they've got a cousin. So it's like one family that's like
wow.
really dominant, basically. And his cousin Jiggy Jaya, he's again another maniac. So individually different in their dance styles. They're under the same umbrella of popping, but they dance so differently. And that's why I guess you can appreciate the subtle differences between. It just uniquely resembles almost like everyone's individuality.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nice because everyone's so different.
Do you guys do any performances for the public, or is there anything like that? Because you're saying that you guys do classes and you kind of, I'm sure you don't use this word, but in a way you train to get better and better to become better at popping, right? Is there any, not necessarily end goal, but is there, performances or anything like that?
Yeah, we do. We normally do a non-for-profit performance for Street Work, which is a organization that basically fundraisers for youth off the street.
Yeah.
So that's the company I used to work for as a side hustle, basically. So yeah, we do that. I think it's their fundraising night in October, usually.
Yeah.
And they get us in and we do a performance. Nothing, we don't usually choreograph anything. Just because we're boys and we're unorganized and, we only can get each other to get to the venue on time, let alone having training sessions before that. So
do you need a manager?
we're looking.
If anyone's listening and want to be a manager, this is the time.
We are looking for the one-off performance. So yeah, we used to train at DY Beach. So
on the sand?
No, on the platform area. So notoriously on a Sunday afternoon, we would go down to the beach, bring a boombox or a speaker, and a lino.
Yeah.
And every Sunday we would train there, like at sunset. And we'd get crowds.
With a big crowd. Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, there's crowds forming. And yeah, it was just a good platform. Like if had the Groove and Wellness Society started up back then, we should have given out flyers. In hindsight, we should have. But we were just, people came up and talked to us and wanted to know about our classes, et cetera, et cetera.
That's awesome.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You should, not right now, but you should do that again soon at some point.
I'm trying.
When things are settling back down.
Yeah, definitely. It's in the cards for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll endeavor for that.
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. Is there any way people can kind of get better, not necessarily through TikTok, but is there any way people can practice at home?
Yeah, if you got a mirror.
Yeah.
And a speaker. That's all you need.
But how do you get started with like popping though? Because that's it's kind of a skill, right? What are some of the basics that you teach in the classes? You don't have to give away all your secrets, but some things to kind of get started at least.
People can take the secrets if they want. So one is to just dance on beat. So to know the counts, the 8 counts. So it would be
Explain that.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
So that's an 8 count.
That's an 8 count.
Yeah.
And essentially the beat would be on the 4 or on the 1, whatever the beat might be.
Yeah.
And so you can train just the pop itself. So the hit. Yeah. They call it the hit.
Okay.
And so you can train that in different positions.
That's a good idea.
Boom, 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 boom.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah.
And so you can train that. That's one way of training in different positions.
And you recommend to do it in front of the mirror because you can see it. You get instant feedback, right?
You get instant feedback. You can do it, not in front of the mirror.
I guess now everyone has a smartphone. They can just use their phone.
They can use their phone and just review it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one way to train. There's also, there's different moves you can do. So there's like fundamental moves. So the wave. So you can break that up into 8 counts. You can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And then you can do that back. You can do that back and forth. Yeah. You can do a body roll up and down. You can do dime stopping, which is this. So it's incredibly universal in terms of what you can do. It's just how you want to train. I would, if I was a beginner, like go through the notebook of fundamentals and be like, okay, let's get the wave down. Let's get the robot
Where do they find the notebook of fundamentals?
That's in my head. It's in my head.
Okay.
Or
but
go to Popping
the
Jack is
but
very...
the 8 count and the wave and
These are the basics. So yeah, you know, the old man walkout, which is something so specific to popping that no one would know.
yeah.
Twisto flex, all these things that like
Can I just search this on YouTube?
you can search it on YouTube.
it
You
pops
can
up.
go on any, you know, just type in popping
Yeah.
tutorial on YouTube. You'll find so many different things.
Is Jabberwockies, is that popping?
Jabberwockies, yeah. So they're a collection of a lot of people, I think. They're mostly hip hop dancers.
Okay.
From what I know. There's a guy called Kid Rain and he was a really good b-boy or break dancer. And so he's really like, you know, he was at an elite level. I think there's a dance competition called Red Bull BC1.
Yeah.
And he was, I believe, a competitor on that. But yeah, obviously they won America's Best Dance Crew and they're you know, doing performances for the halftime show at basketball games. So there's no shortage of performances.
Are they
on their
kind of
behalf.
have a secret identity or, you know, because they always dance with their masks on. Do people know who they are? And
They're
do they
anonymous
mix?
at all
Are they
times.
anonymous?
No, people know who they are.
Okay. And
Like-
do they mix? Because what I was curious
Yeah.
about, if they swap team members in and out, because you wouldn't really be able to tell.
That's the beauty about masks. Eh?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do with my physio practice. I'll put in Alvin with a mask. No one will ever know.
That wouldn't be creepy at all.
Yeah.
get treatment with someone with a big ice hockey mask.
No, so people, so yeah, they do switch in and out people. So, you know, they would select a few people from different dance crews that had particular interests. Perhaps if they do a show and they wanted 2 people to do head spins or baby mills or something, and they knew only one of their group members could do it, they would get another one. So they outsource. Like any good company would do, right?
Yeah, that's
Outsourcing.
clever. Yeah. So trying to get the right skill set.
Yes, of course.
Dance. Yeah.
And so yeah, they're a very unique one because they're very in time, in tune with, you know, you see them dance and
Synchronized.
they're so synchronized. Yes, that's exactly.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Jabberwockies on YouTube, just search and there's some amazing shows there.
Yes.
They've done some incredible ones.
They're
I actually think the older stuff was better than when they blew up and they did the basketball halftime show and stuff. That was good, but not as I thought some of the earlier ones.
What did you like? Do you have a
one-
particular performance that you?
Yeah, there's one. The show is called World Dance something.
World of Dance, yeah.
Yeah, WOD is
Yeah.
World of Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's strangely I remember. I think this show is sponsored by
Pepsi.
Mitchell. No, Mitchell, which is like the hair product. I think.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
And they do
I wouldn't know.
a show there, and it's just filmed. It looks like someone's just filmed it with cheap cameras. Like it's just almost just from the spectators.
Damn those people.
But it's the sickest dance.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I don't remember that particular performance, but I've got. I really like the Red Pill, which is their last dance of America's Best Dance Crew, and they're all dressed in red, and it's very slow.
Yeah.
But this they're just all in
Gotta
time.
watch that.
You need to watch it. Put it on the list.
And I guess one of the things they do amazingly, because they dance not just to one song, but it's a medley. Like it's heaps of different songs mashed up and put together really well. And that makes them stand out even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just because there's so many different levels. There's
I can
fast,
recommend.
there's
Yeah.
slow.
They have the iPhone calls halfway through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
they do.
change it up.
Yeah, they do such a cool
it up.
segment with that.
Why not get a phone call through your dance
Yeah,
number?
and then one like dude picks it up. It's so sick, and then it turns into a beat. The calling. Anyway, if you haven't watched it, get into the wormhole of Jabberwockies on YouTube.
Yeah,
You'll
do
probably
yourself a
spend half a
favour.
day. Yeah,
Yeah, you'll be on that that loop for a while.
yeah. Okay, I want to, as you said, switch gear a little bit and talk about your physiotherapy practice because you work out of Monaville.
Yeah.
And you've treated me for a little bit, and you also do a fair few sports, which is of course dancing, you surf, and you do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. What are some of the things that you see from like in people that do sports, and if it's I hate to use this word, but people talk about overuse a lot, and joint aches and pains. What are some of the things that you see a lot and that's kind of easy to fix? Do you have any advice?
Easy to fix.
Well, any advice for the listeners, right? Because I think a lot of people that do listen to the show have frequently niggles, as we call it. Yeah.
Aches and pains. The easiest for me personally as a physio to treat is acute neck. So
Acute neck.
like a wry neck.
What's that?
Wry neck is like, you wake up in the morning and your neck's really stiff and you can't like turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That for me has seen probably the best results
Yeah.
in one treatment session. There's a couple of different ways you could treat it.
Yep.
Dry needling, soft tissue massage, general mobilizations of the vertebrae. You can just also correct their posture and get them to self-massage as well.
Yeah.
And they traditionally will have a really fast result.
Where do you think that neck issue stems from with a lot of people? Because I would guess that quite a few would put their hand up and be like, yeah, that's been me. Like I've had that last week or, in the last month, probably a lot of people have had that stiff neck type of issue. Where does that generally stem from?
I would say posture, particularly in the lower back. So a little trick I explain to patients is that your head is much more susceptible to slouch forward if your lower back is slouched as well. So you can try it now.
Oh.
So if you slouch through your low back, you'll feel your shoulders
straight away
neck come forward.
Yeah, and your head tips forward.
Yeah,
gets
and
heavier.
that's just a natural hang that your body has. However, if you go posture up through the lumbar spine, which is your lower back, and then you try the same thing, much harder.
Yeah.
Much harder to put your neck forward.
Yeah, you're more in alignment.
Yes. So we just try to, normally it's people deviating from neutral. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So whether they do too much in a different position that's not neutral, or whether they sleep in a different position than neutral, or they, experience whiplash or something like that, that will really lead to some kind of wry neck issue. So sometimes it doesn't happen because of one mechanism. Sometimes it might happen over time. Say you sat in a bad posture for 5 to 10 years. That neck, that neck is eventually going to go sometime. And so it's, you look at a patient as they come into the clinic, you can visually see how they're sitting in the waiting room. You see how they're sitting in the clinic, in your clinic room, and you note it down.
Yeah. Everyone that's listening now is like getting the posture a bit better.
Okay, let's erect the back.
Adrian is on it.
I'm onto it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to, because that's a subconsciousness, right? Like that's their normal. And so if you don't correct that from the get-go, then they're always going to sit like that. And it's an uphill battle trying to correct someone's posture.
So what you're saying is the neutral alignment is, the natural, posture, good posture of the spine.
Yeah. So
and that's what happens with our life these days is we deviate from that too often and too much.
Yeah, because of how everyone works these days, mainly behind a desk, sitting down.
Right now, everyone's working from home, but
everyone's working from home. Hey, you can have a desk at home.
Yeah.
Anyways,
a lot of people probably even have a worse work posture at home. They work on the
probably
couch.
because they don't have a standing desk or an actual proper sitting desk. So it's a lot of that, people sitting down and perhaps their computer screen's not, at the right level. So if you're
what's the right level?
So the right level would be eye level. So you don't want to be looking down at the screen because then you'll deviate your posture. You don't want to be
middle of the computer screen that you work at should be at eye level.
Ideally.
And most people, I would say, have their screens too low.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not in that industry, so I can't comment on people's screen heights. But ideally, you want it eye level. And so that allows you to almost naturally, gain your posture. And we mean by posture is the natural curves in the spine. So you got the lower back as a lordosis, the middle back or the thoracic is a kyphosis, which is the opposite bend. It's like an S.
Yeah.
And then it goes back the other way for the cervical, which is your neck. Also lordotic. And then obviously you got the sacrum at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if I think that's a very simple way to correct or to lower the risk of going into a physio clinic because of your bad posture. Because that's one of the things that I'm constantly drilling patients with. and they always slouch in front of me. They get comfortable after we, speak for 5 minutes. They droop into their positions again.
Yeah.
And
Because the body's so used to it now, hey?
that's just their subconscious, man. Yeah. They just like
I
it.
see it a lot at work because one thing that kills the posture when you're working at a desk is and a lot of people do this, they work with a laptop. And the laptop screen is naturally just sitting at the table level.
Yeah.
And to even look at that screen, you're going to have to drop your head.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you don't have a second monitor or, like a proper screen that's stands out vertical.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to help you a little bit, but a laptop screen is just like on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard with a laptop. You can get those stands that pick it up a little bit and then like an external keyboard or something like that. There's ways around it.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't recommend that more.
Yeah. You've experienced
external keyboard and a mouse. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm editing. I have to use that.
Yeah.
So, and actually it's an efficiency tip as well, I would say, is to have a second monitor, have an external keyboard, external mouse, and raise everything up. It makes the biggest difference.
What makes it more efficient than?
You're faster. Way more faster, and it's a bigger. Your second monitor is way bigger to look at. So moving things around, windows or typing, everything is just more efficient.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't work with spreadsheets, but I've given this advice to people that do. And when they have a second monitor and work with, Excel or Google Docs, it's such a big difference. Yeah. I don't think people understand it unless they try it.
Unless you do it.
Yeah. Because most laptops is a 13-inch or a 15-inch screen, which is tiny. And you might not realize, but to read what's on a 13-inch screen, you're going to strain your neck and your eyes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And blowing it up bigger, it's...
Do you think that's an issue for you at the moment? Straining of the eyes?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
Yeah. Because
you wear glasses?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I wear glasses when I work on my computer. I actually work with 3 monitors. So I have the laptop.
Super efficient then. You're talking about efficiency.
Yeah, try to be. So I've got my laptop and I've got 2 pretty big monitors at home. At my work desk, I've got an even bigger one, and it's just so much better. Yeah. Being on the phone on your laptop is just killing people's postures.
So it's a thing that will inevitably happen if you continue down that route. Maybe some people won't, but it's most likely going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if you want to share your personal experiences.
Yeah.
You've come into some neck issues recently, haven't you?
Well, not recently. Probably been on and off for a while. But so what Adrian is referring to is I've got a nerve problem. I don't even know if we've diagnosed it properly. Is it a carpal tunnel syndrome or I don't even know.
I think we diagnosed it as a spinal nerve root compression.
Yeah,
which
so
is
from a neck.
Yeah, so it's from a specific vertebrae in the neck. We're hypothesizing that one of the discs potentially has either herniated or protruded onto one of the spinal nerves, which is giving you pins and needles down the arm.
Yeah, that's been ongoing for quite a while.
And we can trigger that movement from, neck extension, and it particularly hurts, correct, with surfing.
Yes.
And as a physio...
I'm now out of the water.
So I treated yours truly, Kim over here, about a week ago would have been, was it?
Yeah. Was
it a week? Yeah, exactly a week ago. Oh no, on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I specifically said it or if it was a backhanded compliment to not surf, but what did you do, Kim?
You caught me red-handed on my way to Little Nara, and I surfed for 2 hours.
Pretty good, wasn't it?
It was too good, but yeah, now I'm definitely out of it out of the water because the nerve pain has been pretty bad. It's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse, and after we got you so good.
Yeah, I was getting better for a little while, but I think so. Maybe to explain to the listener, and this is probably dragging out a bit about my issues, but my neck, my spine through my neck is very straight. I do lack that S-curve, and I've had a few x-rays on it. Even years ago, I had an x-ray on my neck. So I'm pretty prone to get this issue, I think. It's been a while since I had it last time, but I have had it badly before. But,
yeah. So you want to get that properly. You need the correct treatment, ideally, to settle it down and to get your neck properly I'd say, mobile, so you can actually adopt those positions without getting those nervous system pains.
Yeah. It's a
but
frustrating pain. Nerve pain is very,
nerve pain. It's
very annoying.
ridiculous. I've only hit my funny bone. So I can only imagine what you're going through. Yeah, on my elbow.
Yeah. You get pins and needles for like 2 minutes maybe when you hit your funny bone. Not even
but it's intense.
Yeah. I've had mine for like 24 hours. For 6 weeks, I think.
And it's unfortunate, but there's obviously modalities and ways in which we can treat that. We just need to, unfortunately, if it's irritable and able to, go backwards and flare up, it's going to do that with the aggravating activities. Yeah. And then it kind of gets more hypersensitive to that movement. You actually take a couple of backward steps if you do that. So unfortunate for you, but we know what we're dealing with. So
I think ultimately, just got to remember it does get better because it's been pretty frustrating now. I think with any injuries, it's kind of a good, check on yourself just to see how you...
I think it makes you humble. I've been going through injury myself.
Yeah. Oh, do you have one? Oh, you got...
Yeah. So remember... So I've been going through a knee injury back in last year, 2019. In October, I got shifted to the side or pushed to the side and basically got a minor injury from that. It was at a Saturday night out kind of incident, so I will not say more than that. And so
a lot of injuries happen late on Saturday nights, don't they?
I don't know why, but yeah, it's true. And so I got pushed to the side, had a little bit of a niggle in the knee and the ankle, thought the ankle was worse, went to jiu-jitsu 2 days after, was sitting on my heels as you normally do to do like a pendulum drill. I trained throughout that whole week at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And by the end of the week, my knee was so swollen. And I thought it was a MCL, which is one of the ligaments at the middle of the knee that basically aids in stability of the knee. However, because what it actually is the pes anserine bursa, which is a fluid sac that lies under three muscles, the sartorius gracilis and the semitendinosus, which is a hamstring. And
so that's why it's swelled up so much.
Yes, because of the compressive forces through really bending through the knee. And basically that, unfortunately, bursts are one of the worst things to heal. They take such a long time. And particularly every time I would walk, down a hill or downstairs, there was a distinctive...
Oh, really? Through the knee? Wow.
And it was...
so that keeps aggravating the bursa, right?
Yeah. So every time that happens, it's actually aggravating it. So I've actually had to go through...
So the bursa in the knee is worse than the bursa in the elbow?
Yes, because you can actually rest that. Whereas I can probably rest it, but I'll probably need a wheelchair or a mobility scooter or something to properly rest it. It's coming better now, but I had to go through modes of or rounds of anti-inflammatory, Voltaren 25s or 50s to even get it to settle. But as a person that's quite active, I actually will try to return to running and jiu-jitsu and surfing way too early. Yeah, you got me. It's hard.
See, I'm not the only one.
I know what you're going through. It's super hard.
Yeah.
And so, the knee's actually coming good. I'm able to go to jiu-jitsu, not now, but, a week or two ago, I was going to jiu-jitsu quite frequently without the knee hurting. But yeah, that's one injury that basically you have to let rest and stretch. And you can go on and off. I don't like to do anti-inflammatories at all. To even get me on to anti-inflammatory is, I'm clutching at straws there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah. I think I had 2 days where I took it from my elbow. Yeah. Because I had the burst in my elbow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And it's really bad.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. I think the healing time now has been on and off for about 5 months. It got good and it gets bad, then it gets good. Because of my activity, it's very activity dependent.
Yeah. So for the listener, maybe as a physiotherapist, when people get niggles and small injuries, which I think people get all the time, is the advice just to go see someone sooner rather than later?
Oh, it's a very hard question. Because
That's what I'm learning more and more now is like I should have gone earlier.
yes.
Because I think so. I had just to give a bit of my experience again. So I did my bursa on my elbow very randomly, and I treated that well. Like I went and saw Rich at Balance, who's my chiro that I see often, and then I rested it, and that one's now like I'd say almost 100%. My bursa is so good.
Yeah,
like that really healed quick, or not quickly. It took the time it needed, which is 3 to 6 weeks. Because I rested it, it now feels 100%. But and with your knee, what was your like journey with that? When you did the bursa there, did you struggle to rest it in the beginning, as you said?
Yeah. So I continued to train on it.
Hindsight, would you have done that?
No, absolutely not. Because at a stage where it probably needed 1 or 2 weeks worth of rest and some anti-inflammatories, and it would have gone down completely. However, because it's so sensitive, this bursa, it will inflame at like any given moment if you stress it too much.
And then you're back to almost square one, right?
Yeah, it's so much better than it was before because it's not, you'd only experience a click if you really got it going. So I'd have to single leg hop for about a minute or 2 minutes to actually get the click happening again.
Yeah.
And once it happens, then there's no going back. It just continues and continues until you stretch it out.
Yeah.
So in my instance, a bursal injury, 100% go see someone straight away. Doesn't have to be me. It can be anyone that knows what they're doing, and they'll get you on a management program to settle it and to tell you what you can and can't do according to whatever your activities are. However, if you, I don't know, bumped a door or something and you've got a bruise, stuff like that.
Yeah, you definitely
you got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
But definitely for major injuries, for sure, go see someone.
Yeah.
For anything that's going to affect your quality of life that has dragged on for, over 2 or 3 days, go see someone because the impact it's probably going to have if you leave it over, 6 weeks, 3 months, if you leave it for that period of time and just try conservative rest, the management or treatment sessions that you have to do to overcome that length of time of not doing anything, because there's nervous system responses, hypersensitivity, there's adaptiveness in terms of what you're doing in your everyday. So basically you need to overcome many more hurdles to even get you back to where you were when you when the injury happened.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but generally what I advise myself to do when I get a niggle is I monitor it from the day when I get it and then for about 3 or 4 days, and I want to see if it gets better, if it stays the same, or if it gets worse.
Yeah.
And if it stays the same or gets worse over those 3 or 4 days, then I'm like, okay, I got to treat this a little bit more seriously, because if it's tiny, it's going to recover itself pretty quickly. But when it's something a little bit more serious, I give it that 3 or 4 days, and then I'll call and book in with a health practitioner like yourself, like a physiotherapist, or with Rich, who's a chiro, and then go on a treatment program from them. Because another thing people are very scared of is they don't want to go and see someone like you because, he's just going to tell me not to do it. Stop doing everything that you're doing. And I really don't think that part is true. I mean, I've never gone in and been told, you can't train or you can't do this and that. That's more been, lately that's been stuff that I put on myself. Like with the bursa, I kind of had to stop grappling because I would hit that bursa pretty much regardless. But yeah, is that like a good way to look at it, or?
Yeah, I'd say the initial injury, it's good to monitor for sure to see where it's actually going in terms of progression. So if it's progressively getting worse, obviously that's not great.
Yeah.
However, if it's getting better, you could be onto something that, maybe it's going to come good. But it's very hard to say because it's very individualized, and you almost never know unless you're a physio or have some kind of diagnostic background in terms of injuries, how bad something might be. So for example, my bursa, like I didn't think it was going to be that bad because I thought it was an MCL.
And you're a physio.
I'm a physio. I know I should be the first person onto it, but because my clinical history, I haven't gone through a massive injury before. I've been maybe injured for a week, maybe, and then it comes good. All sorts of injuries, ligaments, tendons, muscular issues. They've all come good within a week. However, this one's dragged on and has been the bane of my life at this point, and I'm consistently managing it and not doing activities because I know I've been down that path now to be like, okay, well, if I do that, this actually gets much worse. Actually holds me back from doing everything that I want to do. So I guess the key is definitely if it drags on past 2 or 3 days and progressively gets worse, you want to go see someone.
Yeah.
For sure. And obviously, if you can, see a healthcare professional that knows what they're talking about, the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's...
Would you say that the hardest person to diagnose is yourself?
Yes and no. I think it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because almost at the same time, the best person to diagnose yourself is yourself because you can live through it essentially. If you put your objective hat on and say, okay, these are the things that are happening. These are the areas that it's happening in. This is how it happened. You can be like, okay.
You should be able to self-diagnose.
That's what it is. However, she'll be right. A lot of the time is the phrase that gets tossed around by physios. So yeah, we can be our own worst enemy, unfortunately, because you know, if you say, oh, I'm a physio, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. But you know, it's all very subjective, man. Like,
coaching yourself can be the hardest thing. It's
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I believe I've got it right. It's been double diagnosed and affirmed by a sports physician as well. So that gave me a lot of ease.
So you went and saw someone else, right?
Because I thought it was going crazy. I thought, because so what happened is last week I went to go get an MRI. And that MRI, they focus on my meniscus. And it said I had a complex meniscal tear. And if anyone knows what the meniscus is, basically like the padding between the knee. There's a lateral one, which is on the outside, and the medial one. On my medial one, it said I had a very complex tear. And if anyone has been through a meniscal injury, it's like a very locking, dull feel. And it just lingers around a little bit. So it gets locked into a certain position and you feel like you don't want to move your leg out of that position because it feels like it's locked. That's what a meniscus feels like. And so when I got that back, I was like, because the flap, apparently, I feel a click in the middle of my knee. And I'm thinking, oh, is that flap going from that, because it was meant to be a posterior horn tear, which is basically just posterior meaning the back, and flapping to the middle side of the knee. And so essentially they were saying it's an unstable tear. So it's moving around willy-nilly. And I'm thinking, is that the flap that's actually moving in my knee a meniscus? So I double guessed myself. I was like, man, I'm going crazy because I've been diagnosed as pes-enterine bursitis. Yeah. So you'd think, like, oh my God. So basically I was like, no, I'm going to get this double check. I won't tell this guy anything about what I think it is. I'll let him be as objective as possible. I said, okay, that's the MRI. He looked at the report. He looked at the images from the MRI. I was just like, oh yeah, I mean, it's pretty nasty tear. Then he did all the clinical tests and then he checked my meniscus and it was fine.
Oh, wow. So you were right.
I do get it sometimes, like the meniscal feel, but I know what that feels like and I know that's not the hindrance. Yeah. And so when he was like, I think it's just semitendinosis, on the MRI it looks inflamed, like it's thickened, and the bursa looks inflamed. And I was just like, thank God. Thank God I'm on the right path.
Still got it.
I still got it. Dust my shoulder off. But yeah, no, that was because I think pes-enterine is very hard to diagnose typically because it's so rare. People often don't think about it. They go to MCL straight away, like I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Unfortunately, the Pezanserine road is very hard. So, anyone that's going through a Pezanserine bursitis knows my pain.
Yeah.
And just for anyone going through it, keep going because you'll make it at the end.
Well, keep resting, you mean, yeah? So, like,
Yeah.
you got to rest that knee a bit
That's
to
it.
get that to heal.
Yeah. Or modify your exercises.
Yeah.
Or movements. So, for example, at jiu-jitsu, I'm not able to... I can run on the mats, which is fine. Typically, running is not great, particularly the acceptance of load or the eccentric phase is not fantastic for a bursa. That's when especially for me, is when the clicking would happen. And then I would sometimes get on a backward roll because we do that as a warm-up drill sometimes at jiu-jitsu. We backward roll like the whole length of the gym. And because that hyper flexion, like extremely bending through the knee with load, that sometimes gets my meniscus going.
Because as you come around back over, you basically get all your body weight onto the knee, right?
Yeah, you accept it onto the knee. So yeah, that's when you... So I've just had to modify. I've had to, go to one side. Had to really stretch before any jiu-jitsu class, like really rigorously. Hip flexor, hamstring, adductors. Make sure that they're fully stretched. Do a couple of squats. Run around a bit. Yeah, it's all good. It really is all good. It's just the returning to running is going to be a long haul.
Yeah.
And I was just going to wait for it to really calm down because once you aggravate it again, unfortunately, the whole charade of it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that was a pretty big segment to finish off with on injuries. So but I think now is a good time for a lot of us to get a little bit of a rest.
Yeah, rest that knee.
Yeah. we gotta do another episode after we do some filming with some popping.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
We gotta film some popping and obviously get Alvin on as well.
Yeah.
But Adrian, thank you so much for coming on, sharing the story
handshake.
Today's handshake is about 1.5 meters apart.
Yes.
Yeah. But like I said, we'll get some popping filmed and then we'll get Alvin on.
We'll do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.